Hi, this is Chris Vogel here to talk about mission in North America and specifically church planting and vitality. When we talk about M&A, always good to know what the General Assembly has commanded us to do. Going back to the RAO, we understand that the affairs of the church involved in its extension in the United States and Canada are assigned to the Committee on Mission in North America, whose duties and authorities shall be designated by the General Assembly. Well, that unexciting but important language reminds us what we're here for. So when we say what's M&A's purpose, put it simply, cultivating kingdom advancement throughout the PCA in North America. Now, what's our mission? How are we doing that? Well, we seek to do that by providing expertise with excellence to all PCA churches, presbyteries, and networks in North America by offering a suite of practical ministry resources, training, equipping, and assisting in missional purpose, serving communities to advance God's kingdom. Well, what that then means here and now for our vision, as we described in the 50th General Assembly, was that the glory of the knowledge of the Lord will fill the earth as the waters cover the sea. Jesus is on mission in our secular age to advance his kingdom. Mission in North America serves the PCA for the expansion of churches that are faithful to the scriptures, true to the Reformed faith, and obedient to the Great Commission. By resourcing our churches for kingdom advance impact in the next 10 years, M&A will facilitate the multiplication of PCA churches in the U.S. and Canada from 1,932 to 3,000 congregations. Now, what stands out, I think, for many people is that last phrase, by resourcing our churches for kingdom impact in the next 10 years. And M&A will facilitate the multiplication of PCA churches in the U.S. and Canada from 1,932 to 3,000 congregations. Well, how we're going to do that? Well, by God's grace, our church will prayerfully accomplish this by planting new churches, reducing church closures, expanding the diversity of the PCA, partnering with denominational committees and agencies, and unfolding existing congregations into the PCA. Well, it's important for us to know where we're at right now. What is the state of the church here in the PCA? Well, before COVID, we were starting about 50 new churches each year, about one a week, really over 20 years with no appreciable change, but having a pretty good, steady record. But yet, for the past several years, even before COVID, we went from 50 to 38 to 26 to 16 to 26. Well, here in 2023, that number may well be increasing, but it will get nowhere near the 50 that we had been doing. But it means in the past 12 years, the average church number of churches we start each year is about 42 a year. Well, what about the other side, closing churches? Well, since 2001, the PCA has closed 501 churches, about almost 23 a year. Yet what was surprising, when I looked at those that were closed, half were established churches, half were church plants. Now, add to that churches that left the PCA, just looking at the last 12 years, 141 have left the denomination, and we've closed about 303, or we've closed 303 in the last 12 years. So you can roughly divide that into thirds. But whatever that means is, for the past 12 years, the average loss is 37. Now, what does that tell us? Well, we can say it's good news. The PCA shows a growth rate of about 5 churches annually. Certainly not stellar, not exciting. We're moving forward, but we need help. What that means, though, when we look and compare it to the rest of the country, is that in 2014, as a national of all Protestant churches, in 2014, there were 4,000 churches planted, according to Lifeway Research. Churches closed, 3,700, and a net gain of churches of 300 each year. But when they did the same poll again in 2019, what those statistics showed, that churches planted were now 3,000, not 4, and churches closed were 4,500. Now we're talking a net loss of 1,500 churches. That's a change of over 1,800 churches. What is more, when you look at the statistics in 2020, it is thought with a population of around 333 million people, there were about 300,000 churches. That is, church to population ratio, one church for every 1,100 people. Well, given the predictions of what we're seeing now, if we extrapolate what we've just seen in the last 5 years and continue on any similar appreciable rate, the U.S. population is said to be 400 million by 2070. But we may only have 250,000 churches, a ratio of not 1 to 1,100, but 1 to 1,800. Now, there are many aspects that I think are important and we can take a look at. If you're familiar with the book, The Great Dechurching by Davis and Graham, encourage you to take a look at it and see what they came up with. Some of the things they found is the reasons that people are leaving the church are not as critical in their attitude as we might expect. They moved to new communities, never got reestablished. They found attending inconvenient, a family change. They got out of the habit because of COVID. All these things are reasons of leaving that are important to consider, but they're not such that they're saying, I don't want anything to do with the Christian faith. In fact, the reasons for returning, they have found, is they have new friends. They found a church they like. They really believe God wants them back in church. And other reasons that we as believers can speak into. What is more is some of the demographic understanding and looking at things. Ryan Burge, who helped work on the Great Dechurching book, did a lot of their data and research. He found an interesting thing of all the churches, of looking at 9 major denominations, and he didn't consider the PCA major because we are significantly smaller than many of the others. But only the Assembly of God and the PCA over the last 30 years have shown any growth. All the others are declining. What is more, our incline is still greater than the population of membership increase is greater than the population increase, which is wonderful news, which shows then you can see how significantly small we are, but we are on the increase. So what's your response? In the coming weeks, I'll send out another video and talk about what are some of the things based on our vision that MNA is encouraging churches and presbyteries to do to move and advance this whole task. Thank you for your time.